What's going on, movie lovers? Welcome to Apocalypse Movie News, our weekly movie news podcast where we break down the biggest movie news stories throughout the week. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and I'm joined by just Gio Ramos this week. What's going on, Gio?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Here to talk movies. I heard you saw a couple of good movies over the past week.
I did. So I'm finally, the school's slowing down a little bit, so I was able to catch a few movies, and I saw Hacksaw Ridge and Arrival. And
what'd you think?
They're both brilliant movies. And I think they are both in my top 5 movies of the year. Mm-hmm. That's insane that I watched them both in 1 week.
Right.
Hacksaw Ridge is exactly what, what happened in the movie, but just like as far as how good it was, exactly what I expected. A Mel Gibson film starring Andrew Garfield. I expected that movie to be amazing, and it was. It lived up to those expectations. I was excited for Arrival, but it wasn't like one of my most anticipated even for the rest of the year. I was just like, I'm going to see it. Great director, great cast. Totally blew my mind. I just saw it a few hours ago. Arrival, I told you this when I got out, it might be the best movie of the year. I still have Civil War and Deadpool up there just because those are my, genre films, but Arrival is one of the best movies of the year, hands down, along with Hacksaw Ridge. So
both Best Picture contenders?
I do think so. I think they both will be in the Best Picture race by the end of the year.
Nice.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know how this works, we just run down some of the biggest movie news stories that come out. So let's jump right into it. So our first topic, X-Men is the longest-running superhero movie franchise, with many crediting the movies with the success of modern-day comic book movies. But following the outing of this year's X-Men Apocalypse, the franchise is now in a bit of a flux. Well, according to a report from The Hollywood Reporter, Fox may be looking to reboot the franchise if a few things don't fall into place. Per the report, while Simon Kinberg is currently working on the Apocalypse sequel, if Fox isn't able to bring back stars James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, and Nicholas Hoult, the studio is considering quote-unquote refiguring the franchise, which would reportedly not include Bryan Singer, leaving the return of the younger X-Men from Apocalypse in question. Gio, you covered this on our site, so what do you think about the whole thing?
Yeah, look, Fox, they have a lot of decisions to make. This is kind of a transitional period for them, They're calling it a reconfiguration of their whole entire universe. What that means, we'll have to wait and see, but they have a lot of decisions to make, Hugh Jackman leaves as Wolverine for the last time next year. And then you have to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to be able to bring back McAvoy, Fassbender, and Jennifer Lawrence? All three of them. And if you do that, what's going to happen with the new X-Men cast that you introduced in Apocalypse? Are you going to recast them or keep it going forward? And then how are you going to tie Deadpool and Gambit into all of this? So they have a lot of decisions to make. And for myself, I pretty much said what pretty much everyone's been saying, I wouldn't mind seeing McAvoy and Fassbender back. I think they're great in those roles. They really took over from Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Professor Xavier and Magneto and made the characters their own, which is kind of impossible when you think about how great Stewart and McKellen have been. And so I also said Jennifer Lawrence needs to leave this franchise because it's more evident than it ever has been that she doesn't want to be in this franchise anymore. She doesn't like wearing the Mystique makeup. She kind of just phones it in. And the X-Men movies, they've kind of taken a hit because they put so much focus on her character. I don't want these next X-Men movies to focus on Mystique just because it's Jennifer Lawrence in there. So that's been my biggest critic besides continuity with the X-Men franchise. And so I think they have a lot of decisions to make. And I also said, for comparison, look at Marvel Studios. The biggest decision they've had to make, at least publicly, is negotiating with Robert Downey Jr. They didn't sign him for enough films, so that was a public, that was a big deal, and Robert got as much money out of them as he possibly could, and nobody can hate on him for that. Fox, on the other hand, is they have none of their, as far as their big three, they don't have any of them signed. Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, Jennifer Lawrence, they're not signed. Word is Ty Sheridan, who played Cyclops, is signed to a 3-picture deal. So we got to assume that Alexandra Shipp, Sophie Turner, Jean Grey,
Yes.
yeah, all of them, that they're also signed as well. But without McAvoy and Fassbender, this franchise looks a lot different. So I don't know, man. A lot of decisions. What do you think? I mean, this is a lot.
Yeah, I'm not happy to hear this at all because it just makes me worry that they don't know what they're doing over there. Other than the Deadpool franchise, and that wasn't them. That was Ryan Reynolds and Tim Miller
and the writers.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the writers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like Fox wasn't necessarily responsible for putting together Deadpool.
They didn't even pay the writers. Remember
That's
that?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm kind of, because here's the thing. It's hard because they just did X-Men Days of Future Past 2 years ago. And that was great.
That was great. Yeah.
And it heavily featured Mystique. She was the main focus of the plot. I forget the name that they used for like the thing that drives the plot, but her character was
she was like kind of like the driving force.
Yeah, like she was the reason why the story moved forward because they needed her powers to create the sentience and stuff.
Is it called a MacGuffin?
I think so. Yeah,
something. Yeah.
So that worked, but here's the thing. I'm with you. If she's gonna half-ass her performance and not care and openly speak about not being happy with shooting these movies, I love Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's arguably the best actress working today, but I don't want her involved with the franchise that I care about if she's not gonna, give it her all. So, but I definitely do want McAvoy and Fassbender back and Nicholas Hoult. I want all three of them.
Yeah,
all three of them back, and I want this franchise to continue. While I didn't love X-Men Apocalypse, I liked the first or the young cast that they put together for Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm. I thought their performances and their portrayal of the characters were fine, especially Cyclops.
And their chemistry was fun too.
Yeah,
from what we saw,
I liked it this far. So I'm just very disappointed to hear that they're in question with their franchise because I don't understand how it's going to move forward if they don't know where they're at in the first place. So
the best thing I could say is that at least they have Simon Kinberg, who has been a major player in the success with First Class, Days of Future Past. There is some continuity where this is a universe where continuity has been a major problem. They have that, and so hopefully it'll be up to him to write something good enough for McAvoy and Fassbender to return. It's not that they wouldn't want to return, it's just, they're a lot busier than they were when they first signed on for First Class, So it'll be interesting to see, man.
Yeah, we'll find out, but it's not good news, I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Alright, so other than maybe Justice League, the most talked about trailer that came out this summer's past Comic-Con was Kong Skull Island. While the trailer did a fantastic job of introducing us to this new version of King Kong, it actually didn't show Kong himself, leaving us wondering when we'd get our first look. Well, wait no more, as Entertainment Weekly revealed a new Skull Island image focusing solely on Jon Voight Roberts' new monster. Kong Skull Island stars Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman, and smashes into theaters on March 10th, 2017. So, Gio, you saw this image. What did you think?
He looks angry, does he not? He looks pretty angry. I'm curious to see what that's all about. But as far as a first look goes, it looks good. I mean, he looks a little more. He looks a little more human. I guess you could, not human, but like human features. You know how in the Apes movies they add more features.
You're gonna be able to see his
emotions, expressions. Not that we didn't see that in the Peter Jackson King Kong, but this one looks like it's more of a little more of a step up. So he definitely looks angry. He looks mad, like he's gonna go on a rampage or something, and that's what we want to see him do. We want to see him tear shit up, because in these movies, let's face it, there's always that one human or that one general or commander who just cares about destroying the beast or capturing the beast, doing like borderline animal cruelty, for these kind of movies. And so You know, it looks like he's going to go toe-to-toe with something. Maybe it's another monster. Maybe it's just a whole army of soldiers, you know. So we'll wait and see. But as far as an image, yeah, I buy it.
Yeah, I think he looks great. He looks a lot like thinner and like younger. And we know this is supposed to be a young King Kong.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering how big he is, which you can't really tell based on this picture. Like, is that a tree behind him? You can't really tell.
Right.
But I think he looks good. There's not much more to say. I'm really looking forward to this movie, though, and I'm excited that they're building towards.
I'm still a little skeptical about
Kong and Godzilla
finding a Godzilla, but we're gonna see how that works. I gotta see how Kong moves.
I know, and how big he is and his strength. I think he's gonna like his punch will like be a lot bigger than he. It's kind of like the Hulk, where he has so much power behind his punches.
Could be like a Tyson and Ali, where Godzilla's Tyson. You know, he has that power, and
yeah, exactly.
Kong is like that guy who could just move. You know,
and I think like King Kong, like if King Kong were able to get up to Godzilla and like punch him in the face, like Godzilla would fall. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. He's gonna be that strong. Yeah. So we'll see how it all works out. All right, our first trailer today is for the upcoming sci-fi adventure Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets from The Fifth Element and Lucy director Luc Besson. Starring Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne, the film follows two special operatives from the government of human territories who come into direct conflict with unseen forces while on a mission to the intergalactic city of Alpha. Valerian also stars Clive Owen, Ethan Hawke, Rihanna, John Goodman, and hits theaters on July 21st, 2017. So I just watched this trailer about 20 minutes ago, and it looks amazing. It reminds me of like Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy, where you're just going on this epic space adventure. This is more of what Hollywood needs. Like it just kind of reminds me of an 80s sci-fi movie. Like it just looks amazing, like the feel of it, the music, the visuals. I love these two actors together. Dane DeHaan is one of my favorite young actors. I wish he would work more.
It's like what happened to him after Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Well, I think that kind of slowed him down, and he does a lot of indie stuff, and he's a great actor. He needs to be working more, and I think this is a movie. Hopefully the movie's great because it could elevate him to a higher status as an actor. And I know we haven't seen Cara Delevingne in that much, and she's not a proven actress yet, but she's very attractive. And I give her the benefit of the doubt because the fact that Besson cast her in this. Why would you cast her as a lead in this movie if you didn't believe in her ability to act? So I have some faith in her on that end, and it just looks like a super fun adventure, and I just hope it's good because you can have all these visuals look amazing, but if the movie sucks, then no one's going to care. If this movie is great, then it's going to make a big difference on as far as like sci-fi films and like maybe a resurgence for them, you know? So
definitely.
I love this trailer all around. Gio?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, man. This is the guy who did Fifth Element, and you definitely get a little bit of a Fifth Element vibe in there, you know, with a little bit of Avatar. So as far as the visuals go, they look amazing. I agree with you 100%. I'm excited for these two leads. You know, DeHaan, you know, he's a great actor, and Cara Delevingne, you know, she'll be a breakout star. Like, I have no doubt of that in my mind. And I kind of wish I knew a little bit more about, you know, the books that these movies are based off of, so I can, you know, kind of see, you know, what they're going for. But at the same time, you know, I think it's a good thing so that you go in with kind of an open mind. Because sometimes when you read the books, you kind of go in expecting the books, you know. I've learned that from seeing people or hearing people talk about like the Twilight franchise or Lord of the Rings or something, or Harry Potter, you know, or something like that. But yeah, I agree with you. It looks like a fun action adventure. It looks it's like a movie unlike anything that I've seen in a while, you know. There are definitely things that are reminiscent of the visual style, but altogether it's a mixture that could bring us something fresh and good for the sci-fi genre, you know. You have Star Wars, Arrival, you know, and now Valerian, so it's great. I love it.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I do know that they said that George Lucas was inspired by this graphic novel and it influenced Star Wars a little bit.
It did. That's
I remember.
Correct.
I think Dane DeHaan talked about it early on during the filming of the movie. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, like, I can't wait to see this film even more because I could see those influences in it for sure.
Yeah.
All right, our next trailer is for a film that will no doubt be talking about next year's award season. Early yesterday, Warner Bros. Released a second trailer for Ben Affleck's upcoming Live by Night. Set in the Prohibition era of the 1920s, the film follows Affleck's Joe Coughlin, who after crossing a powerful mob boss sets down a path of revenge, ambition, romance, and betrayal that propels him out of Boston and up the ladder of Tampa's steamy, rum-running underworld. Also starring Elle Fanning, Brendan Gleeson, Sienna Miller, Zoe Saldana, and Chris Cooper, Live by Night has a limited December 25th release date, where it will expand nationwide on January 13th, 2017. Gio, we just watched this trailer not too long ago. What'd you think, man?
Oh, man, I really didn't need another trailer to buy this movie, but the fact that we got one, it's like the cherry on top.
Oh yeah,
definitely. I'm looking forward to this movie, man. Ben Affleck, he's just, the guy is like one of the greatest directors working today, hands down. And with this movie, it's going to be very serious. It's going to have that violence in there, all that, but you're also going to have those slower moments where you get to know the character. It's not just one of those gangster flicks where it's like, all this conflict and everything. You're going to have some character moments in there. And whenever Ben Affleck does it, it's great. The cinematography in the movie looks amazing. I think it's the same guy who did The Hateful Eight, although I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm very excited for this movie. I think it's a guaranteed Oscar contender. I mean, when you have Ben Affleck, it's, his last 3 movies have been up for Oscar consideration. So this guy, he can't do no wrong. I have zero doubts about this movie.
Yeah, I think this movie looks amazing. All you have to tell me is that Ben Affleck has directed it. I mean, his last film won Best Picture. I think all 3 of his movies have been great to masterpiece, and whether you like, depending on what genres you like. And this trailer looks amazing. I didn't love the first trailer, but this one, I think I love this trailer because it starts off kind of slow, and then the last 30 seconds of the trailer is just like bang, 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 bang. And there's no doubting that there's a lack of crime or mob movies, and they used to be so prominent in the 80s and the 90s, and now they're not so much at all anymore. So I think this could be maybe a revisiting to that era of filmmaking, and I think who better to handle that than Ben Affleck?
That's a good point.
And his acting has improved too. We saw The Accountant earlier this year. He was great in The Accountant.
Yeah.
And he did a great job in Batman v Superman. Universally, he's mostly loved as Batman, as Bruce Wayne. So the fact that he's directing this and he's starring in it, and the supporting cast looks amazing. The topic of the film, and just, I love that line that they keep repeating, a powerful man doesn't have to be cruel. And I think that's the theme of the movie.
Right.
And I just can't wait to see it. I think it's definitely going to be an Oscar contender for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, our next topic is about some Marvel something that Gio will love to talk about. So moving on to some teenage superhero news. While doing a pretty lengthy interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Spider-Man himself, Tom Holland, revealed some juicy new details about John Watts' upcoming Spider-Man Homecoming. According to Holland, Spidey won't be purposely punching anyone next year in Homecoming, saying the following: "You've seen the billionaire, the scientist, the soldier. Now it's time to see the kid. And every decision we make on set is based off how a kid would react in this situation. So every fight scene we have is designed in a way that's almost child-friendly. So he never actually punches anyone. It's all done kind of by accident. I think the biggest difference is his youth and innocence." So, yeah, Spider-Man Homecoming comes into theaters next year, 2017, summer, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to say right off the bat, I don't necessarily love this because I like the idea that he's young and he's inexperienced and doesn't know how to handle himself as far as combat-wise because he's not trained in combat. But when no matter who you are, it's human instinct to punch when you're in a fight. So he would naturally do that as a human being. So I kind of think they're going a little too far with this, saying, oh, he's a kid, so he doesn't punch anyone. It's all by accident. I don't know if I love that, and I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I don't know if this was incorporated maybe in the comics at one point, but I don't necessarily love this. I get what they're going for, but it might be going a little too far for me. Gio?
I kind of hope they don't mean literally he's not going to punch anyone in the movie, because that's going to be weird. I'm trying to think if there was a moment in Civil War where he actually punched
I don't think
someone.
No, I don't think so. He used his web
A lot of
kicking
webs
and
and kicking,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's possible to pull off. I didn't have a problem with anything that he did in Civil War, and if he didn't throw one punch, then that just makes it even more, better for this what we're hearing right now. But look, I just saw Spider-Man 2 this morning. We watched it, one with Doc Ock, and that movie's great. And when I hear how a child would react to this, it's like, yeah, but he's not a child. He has that experience now where he fought the Avengers. He has that experience with that, and he's been Spider-Man for some time. So if you're still reacting like a child, I mean, it doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. Like, I'm sure they'll make it fun, and we'll see some pretty spectacular action sequences. But yeah, I agree with you. It didn't really sit well with me. Like, he doesn't punch, and I hope they don't mean that literally. So.
Yeah, I just don't understand what they're going for in this. And again, he might be like stating it wrong because it's not coming from the director. It's not coming from Kevin Feige. He might be not explaining it right. But it would have to be a situation where Spider-Man goes into a fight saying, "I'm not going to punch anyone," which would be stupid. I get it if you're fighting like criminals or like maybe they mean like when he's fighting like crooks or robbers because he is super strength. So maybe him punching a normal human in the face would kill them, which is possible. So maybe he avoids doing that when he's like webbing up robbers. But if he's fighting Vulture or another super powered being, he better be throwing some punches. I mean,
I hope his punches aren't that powerful though. Like that's just me.
Well, no, he's naturally super powered though.
Yeah, but you would expect that from a Superman. Like if Superman punched a normal human being, that would. We saw what he did to Batman, even with Batman's
okay,
armors.
But what I'm saying is Spider-Man has super strength.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
If he punched you in the face as hard as he could, you would die. There's no question about that.
As hard as you could. Yeah, I'd imagine he punches probably as hard as Captain America. Thinking back to that boat sequence in Winter Soldier where he was just
That's
kicking
what I'm
guys.
saying. And if Cap punched somebody in the face as hard as he could, they would die.
As hard as he could, yeah.
It's super strength,
Yeah.
So I'm sure, maybe he would avoid doing that because he doesn't want to hurt anyone.
And this is the kid who stopped Winter Soldier's arm, just like
exactly, and that's pretty strong.
That's a lot of strength.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, so moving on to our segment called Take One or Leave One, where we take two topics, put them against each other, and choose which one we would take or leave. Our first matchup today includes a pair of new trailers. The first is for Solace, which follows an FBI agent who enlists a retired physician with psychic powers to hunt down a vicious murderer with extraordinary powers. Starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Anthony Hopkins, Abby Cornish, and Colin Farrell, Solace is released on December 16th. The next trailer is the second trailer for Collateral Beauty, which stars Will Smith as a successful New York advertising executive who, after a great tragedy, seeks answers from the universe by writing letters to love, time, and death. Collateral Beauty also stars Edward Norton, Keira Knightley, Michael Pena, Naomi Harris, Kate Winslet, Helen Mirren, and also opens on December 16th. So yeah, I loved the first trailer for Collateral Beauty, and I love this one, and I also really liked the trailer for Solace. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to have to go with Collateral Beauty because this movie just looks special to me. I'm sure I'll enjoy Solace. It actually looks pretty good. But I'm going with Collateral Beauty. This cast looks amazing. Will Smith leading a film like this is it's like, what more can you ask for if you want trying to get a dramatic performance from him? And I just love this concept. From the moment I watched that first trailer, I've been in love with this concept, and he's writing letters to entities out there like death and love and time, and the idea that they come and talk to him is just so incredible to me. And this trailer executed portraying what I think the movie's going to be really well. So I'm going to go with taking Collateral Beauty and leaving Solace, unfortunately, even though it looks pretty good too.
Yeah, Solace reminds me a little bit of Seven. A little bit of Seven meets, like that paranormal kind of stuff. I love the cast. It looks great. Seeing Anthony Hopkins and Colin Farrell kind of, kind of match each other, one-up each other as far as like premonitions and that kind of stuff. Being able to tell the future. that looks exciting. But I agree with you, man. I got to go with Collateral Beauty. It seems like a more perfect fit for like in that holiday season, and a lot of times, as humans, we whenever we experience, like good things or bad things, we always thank God or we question God. Why is this happening to us? But what if you could actually like, talk to the actual, entities, you say, like time, talk to love, talk to death, why did you put me through this, or why did you do that this early, this and that, and that just makes it more interesting and takes it to a more deeper level. And so the cast is amazing. Will Smith, he's definitely a leading man. He can do the dramatic movies, the dramatic performances or roles. I saw him in Concussion about maybe a month ago for the first time, and that movie is amazing. Great performance, and I'm looking forward to all of it. So it looks great, yeah.
Yeah, and he was pretty good in Concussion too, and I think hopefully maybe this will be an Oscar nomination to him for him. We'll see. It has that feel to it.
Yeah.
All right, our final verses for the show includes 2 DC-focused comments. The first is from Ezra Miller, who, while speaking with IGN, commented on Bruce Wayne Barry Allen's relationship going forward in the DCEU, saying the following: "I think Bruce and Barry get a kick out of each other because they're seeing themselves but reflected in this very warped mirror. As for Joe Manganiello, the actor has been asked quite a bit about his upcoming role as Deathstroke in the DCEU, and while recently on the WWE podcast, Manganiello said the following about Ben Affleck's upcoming standalone Batman movie, The Batman. His take is a fresh take, but I think the audience is going to be surprised because it's a road that no one's really gone down that's completely integral to, who Batman is." So, Gio, you hear both of these comments. You have to choose one DC thing against another, so good luck.
Oh, boy. Both are great comments, but I'm going to go with Ezra Miller's. With the Batman, we kind of know that it's going to be unlike anything we've seen. Ben Affleck, he's been so hard working on this script. Him and Jeff Johns, they're going to get this thing right. So it kind of doesn't really surprise me. Whereas the Ezra Miller comment, it doesn't really surprise me, but it's something that I'm looking forward to see even more because I've gotten a taste of it, but I want to see more. The kind of relationship between Ezra Miller and the Flash and Batman. I feel like that's gonna be an opportunity for a lot of comedic moments. It's gonna be kind of a Batman sort of mentoring the Flash a little bit, like while out in the field, you can't be this reckless, or whatever. We got to work as a unit, this and that kind of thing. So I'm definitely buying Ezra Miller's comments. I'm taking that one.
I like both comments. Why not? But like you said, Manganiello's comments kind of don't really give us much. We kind of expected that. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm dying to hear anything about Justice League and then the Flash and Batman's relationship. We don't know much about that other than what we saw in the trailer.
Sure.
So I'm going to take the Ezra Miller comments too, and that's one of the things I'm most excited about for Justice League is seeing those interactions between Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen because it looked so fun in the trailer, and I can't wait to see more of it. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our normal topics. Now we're going to go end it how we always do with a Showdown Sunday, and Gio has that ready for us. What do we got, Gio?
Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit tough, or maybe not. Who knows? We'll find out. So, in honor of Doctor Strange, you would call Doctor Strange an origin.
Oh, it definitely is an origin story.
I'm just asking. But I decided to pit 2 origin films against each other, and both of these movies are great. And the movies I've chosen, the origin films, are Batman Begins and Iron Man. Jon Favreau's Iron Man 2008, Batman Begins 2005, I believe. His first Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batman film. I want to know which one, in your opinion, is the better origin film. Unlike this presidential election that we just had, you can't go wrong with these 2 options. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. for sure.
So what would you say is the you can't go wrong?
Okay, Gio.
What would you say is the better origin film?
Man, that is tough because it's like,
well, let's talk about both of them real quick before you make a decision. I mean, with Batman Begins, we have we see a Bruce Wayne origin story unlike anything we've seen. His his journey to the League of Shadows. His training, how the film goes back and forth between the past and the present. As he's training, he's kind of confessing and revisiting his nightmares, you could say. With his parents' death and bats and all that. And then he goes back to Gotham, and then he doesn't recognize the city again, and then it just has some pretty interesting themes, the League of Shadows comes back, Liam Neeson returns, the plot twist, I'm Ra's al Ghul, and that kind of stuff, and then the fight at the end, and then you have Iron Man, again, it's a origin story that's presented to us in a very different but similar way that Batman Begins. It keeps going back to the past while, showing the present. And then you see Iron Man, Tony Stark, become this, different person. He can't be this, this person who just wants to have fun anymore and just make money and this and that because he sees what his company is doing. Again, the twist, I guess you could say. Obadiah Stane, Jeff Bridges, he's the villain, and then you have the fight, you have the armor, first powering up, going on the flight, you got Rhodey, two great action sequences between Batman just, fighting in the harbor and Iron Man fighting, in the Middle East against those terrorists. A lot of similarities with these movies.
Yeah,
both are great in their own ways. Like I said, you can't go wrong with either one. But
it's tough.
What do you prefer? What's better in your opinion? Which is the better? It's the greater one.
It's really tough. It's so close. I love both of these movies, but I'm gonna have to go with Iron Man because I think it was the more difficult story to tell. No one outside of the comic book fandom had heard of Iron Man.
Nobody knew.
And Batman was kind of safe because you could have... I'm not saying it was an easy movie to make, but it's hard to not have a Batman movie be successful. Marvel was putting all of their success, their potential success on this Iron Man film, and they knocked it out of the park. Well, I do think Iron Man has maybe a weaker plot and a weaker villain. I think the origin element of it might be a little bit better than Batman Begins. One of my favorite movie scenes of all time is when Iron Man breaks out of that cave with the
breakout scene,
with the very first Iron Man,
the
suit,
Mark One,
Mark One. That is one of my. Whenever I think one of my favorite movie scenes, that always comes to mind. I love that scene so much. So. And just Robert Downey Jr. is perfect as Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
He's amazing, and he has so much charisma, and he makes that movie so much fun. Well, Christian Bale's great as Batman, but he doesn't make the movie fun. And you don't necessarily want a Batman movie to be quote unquote fun. But yeah. I'm just saying, with Iron Man, I enjoy watching him as Tony Stark just as much as I enjoy the action as him as Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
I don't necessarily enjoy watching Bruce Wayne as much as I do Batman. So I'm gonna go with Iron Man.
Good points, fair points. I'm going to go the opposite with you.
I don't blame you.
No, it's just, the Batman movies, after Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, they were... it's like, what do you do with this franchise next? And then comes Christopher Nolan, fresh off of Memento and Insomnia, and he just brings Batman back to such a grounded, gritty level, and in a lot of ways, it kind of set the path for DC to kind of, find its own tone, Doesn't have to be as dark, but, it definitely has that grounded tone. And Christian Bale, he I don't think he was a popular choice for Batman, but once we saw the movie,
Oh, he's great.
you know, he blew us all away. And then Liam Neeson, like as Ra's al Ghul, you talk about like a villain who has a past and he's just, you know, broken. You know, I had a wife once and this and that, and you know, like you know, criminals and, you know, vigilantes and that kind of stuff. It's just I love all that, and I love the writing in that movie. And again, you can't go wrong with either one, but for myself, I'm just gonna go with Batman Begins. I think it's great. Both are great. Both
you
are
honestly can't go
You
wrong
can't go
either
wrong,
way.
yeah.
They're both great origin films. All right, well, that's going to wrap up Apocalypse movie news for this week. I want to thank Gio for joining me as usual. Gio, where can they find you on the web?
Find me on Twitter at GioRamos24 and check out apocalypsemovies.com.
And you can find me, Jacob Bartley, on Twitter at JacobBartley_. And on this YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit that like button. We truly do appreciate it. And check out Hacksaw Ridge and Arrival, two amazing films. Also, check out Doctor Strange, another amazing film. And all I got to say is Spider-Man better punch people. I'm going to be upset and punch the chair in front of me if he doesn't. Just kidding.
You punch
All
a
right.
kid in front of you.
And I do not promote violence. All right, until next time, you all take care.